Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Sarah. Today I'm doing another shipping video. If you've seen my previous videos, I have done a video on Canada Post versus Chit Chats and then another video on how I printed my Canada Post labels. Those are useful if you're beginning and you're not really sure where to start. But I've recently upped my game when it comes to printing labels. As you may have seen from that video before, I printed them before using my desktop printer and just regular 8.5 by 11 label paper, which did work and worked pretty well for about a year. But my store has grown, which is great, and I have to print more labels. And so when I print using my desktop printer, it just gets a little bit expensive because the printing ink for an inkjet printer is really expensive. And then it's also much slower because it takes quite a while to print the labels. And then I usually cut them out as well. So it just took a little extra time. However, I'm now using a thermal printer for 4x6 labels. This is from the company called Munbyn or Munbyn. And it's making it go a lot faster. Full transparency, the company did send me this printer to try, but I actually purchased it myself a month and a half before they contacted me. I got it on Amazon Canada for about 220 Canadian dollars, and then they reached out to me a month later to ask if I wanted to do a video using their printer. So I said yes, and I sold my printer that I had been using for a couple weeks at a reduced price on Facebook Marketplace to someone who actually follows me, so that was pretty cool. And I hope this video helps her as well as everybody else, because there's a lot that I wish that I had known when I first started using this printer, because there is a bit of a learning curve. So I hope that this video helps you. I think if I had this at the very beginning, I would have saved myself quite a bit of time and quite a bit of wasted labels. So I am going to tell you my thoughts on the printer, and then after that I'm going to show you how I use the printer, and I'm going to show you some tips and kind of some troubleshooting for when you're using the printer yourself that I think would help, because I think probably everybody who gets the printer would probably have the same questions and like stumbling blocks as I did. So to get started, I'm going to talk about what I really like about this printer. First off is it's more budget friendly than other printers like the Dymo printer. It's roughly about half the price, so that's a huge savings. I think as a small shop owner, it's hard to invest that big right off the bat because you're not making, maybe, I know for me, I'm not making a huge amount of money, so I'd rather kind of do like small investments and work my way up to maybe larger ones. So I was looking for something that was a little bit more cost effective. The second thing that I love about this is it does make things go a lot quicker because the printing is so much faster, and then the labels are already pre-cut. Also, the labels just stick better to my packages than the other labels I was using. And you don't have to buy ink, you just have to buy the label paper. The printer is really small, so it doesn't take up very much room. And once you have it set up, it is just like a plug and play type thing. So those are all my positives. I think the only negatives is one, that there was a learning curve for me, and I did go through a lot of time and labels to kind of like iron out all of the kinks. So I think this video would kind of help you with that one problem. The second is that it doesn't integrate with Chit Chats, which I don't think would be their fault. It's something that the shipper would set up, and that's kind of who I'm using mostly right now. And when I say it doesn't integrate, I just mean that it's not their like one-click print system that they use, but you can definitely still print your labels no matter what shipper or carrier you're using. Because with Canada Post and Chit Chats, that's what I use, so I can't really give too much expertise or knowledge on anything else. But with those two, I just download the PDFs and open them in a PDF reader, crop them, and print them. So you can still use it for all of your other shippers as long as you get some sort of file to download. And it's still a pretty quick process compared to what I'm used to. So again, I'm still happy that I have this printer because it just makes things so much faster, and it's going to be much more cost effective. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what I got when I got the printer. I'm gonna do a little unboxing, and then I'm gonna walk you through how I print my labels, and then I'm also gonna show you some troubleshooting and tricks that might help you print better labels and to print them more easily. So yeah, if you're interested in how to work this printer, just keep on watching. Okay, so this is what you're gonna get in the box when you order the printer. You have the printer itself, which is packaged quite well. And then you also have this Ziploc bag that has some labels and a disk to download the driver. And then you have your outlets. There should be 2 cords that you can use with the printer. They also sent me a bunch of labels, but you'll need to buy those separately. So these are the 2 cords that you need to plug in together to actually plug into your outlet in the wall. And then you have actually a 3rd cord, which you use to attach your printer to the USB port on your computer. So I'm just doing that on my MacBook Pro. And that's basically all you need in order to set it up. And then there's just an on-off button on the back. So you just feed your labels through like this. You'll notice by default there's a lot of wiggle room because it could fit a larger label. So the first thing you want to do is center the label and make sure to push those guides in a little bit. I didn't realize I needed to do this at first, so my printing was a little bit off sometimes because even though it was centered, it would just move around. So just make sure to do this right off the bat, and that way your printing won't go off the side of the label. And when you're ready to go, you just press the green button to feed through your first label to get it going. So once you have all of your shipment labels, I have them as PDFs, and with Chit Chats, they actually download separately. You may get them in one file, which is great. I know Canada Post does that. But if you do get them separately, it's pretty easy to combine them. You just bring them into Adobe Acrobat, and then you click on Combine Files. And once you're in here, you can click on Add Open Files and just select all the ones that you just imported. And then you'll just select one and then hold Shift and then click the end and then click Combine. And this will just put them into one file, which they call a binder. So now that you have this one file, you won't have to click print for each label. Now you'll just need to crop this. So you go to Edit PDF and then click on Crop Pages. And then you'll just drag your cursor around the label. With Chit Chats, there is an outline, so you can just follow that or just go around it, even if it doesn't have an outline. And then once you have that, you can double click, and that opens this window. So you could technically do this for each label, but a quick way to do it is just click on the All toggle, which is at the bottom right, and then hit OK. This will actually crop all of the labels, except sometimes there's one that gets away, like there's one American one that I guess isn't the same dimension. So there's always one that I have to do, but it's better than 30. So now you're ready to print. I just hit print, and then you may have this checked, which is the choose paper source by PDF paper size. So make sure to uncheck that. I had a lot of problems with my label fitting in the 4x6, and then I choose the fit option, and also make sure your printer is set to the Munbyn printer. And then in your print settings, you'll have to set that printer as well, and also the 4x6 label to make sure you're printing that size of paper. So then you're ready to print. Sometimes I just do one label as a test, but I'm going to print them all right now. Okay, so now I'm going to do some troubleshooting. I found sometimes a blank label got printed in between, or the label kind of shifted down and then some of it printed on the page after. That could be because you didn't click the fit option and it's just too big for your label paper. Or it could be that you just need to open the printer, readjust, feed it through again, and then just try printing it again. I find that just taking it out and putting it back in again kind of resets it, and then it fits perfectly. Okay, so if in your print window after you hit print, there's a button on the bottom left saying printer. If you click that, you will be able to change the darkness of the ink. If you go to the layout drop down and choose printer features, you'll see that you can change the darkness from the default, which for mine is 8. So I change it to 5, and then the print speed I change to slower at 3. I find this gives a better print. You can see here there's 3 versions. You can see the Canada Post logo on the lowest one is very bold. You can't see the thin line in between. It just makes the letters look thinner because it's not printing as dark. It's hard to see in the video, I think, but in person for me makes a big difference. You can see the words tracking number aren't as legible in the middle one. So this is a setting I just always do because I find it just prints nicer. All right, so that's it. I hope that you learned some things. If you have the printer and you've been having issues, I hope this solves some of the main issues that you may have been having. But if you have more questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll try and figure them out because I'm sure more people have the same questions. Or if you just have any suggestions as well about shipping, I would love to hear it. I got a ton of suggestions on my last video about how you can print from PDF Reader using the crop tool instead of what I was doing, which was in Photoshop. So that was a huge help and saved me a lot of time. So thanks for everybody that commented that. So again, if you have any more suggestions, I'd love to hear them and I will always share them as best that I can. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.